Alright guys, so here we are once again back together for another little deep dive into the Monsterverse. So I have actually seen Godzilla, Kong the New Empire, but this video isn't about that, it's about the movie just before that one. Obviously I'm going to be talking about Godzilla vs Kong, so this is of course going to be, spoiler heavy, and we're just going to get into all the little nitty gritty bits, and yeah, so make yourselves comfy. And let's do that right now. So as always, just to very quickly go through the plot. So this movie is set 5 years after Godzilla King of the Monsters. So obviously Ghidorah has been defeated. And so the movie starts off with Kong. He's in Skull Island. And, well, what you think is Skull Island, it turns out actually to be a Monarch outpost. It's very much almost like a Truman Show type thing. He's like, suddenly it reveals this kind of big screen that's around it, and he's like in a containment cell, albeit a very big containment cell. So straight away that they've kind of obviously jumped forwards like 50 odd years from Skull Island, and we know that they've obviously captured Kong, and he's very much kind of being monitored by Monarch. So then we jump across to Godzilla, and he is attacking this cybernetic facility called Apex. And the CEO of Apex, a guy called Walter Simmons, who's a very generic kind of businessman in a suit, evil guy. He brings in this expert called Nathan Lind, which is Alexander Skarsgård, to lead a voyage to Hollow Earth in order to find a power source. So there is your MacGuffin for the movie. Monarch have their own Kong expert called Eileen Andrews, and she is also brought in by Nathan. They kind of reluctantly decides that Kong would probably is the best person to lead them to Hollow Earth, and they bring along her adopted daughter Gia, who is the last member of the Iwi tribe, the native tribe on Skull Island, and she's basically Kong's best friend. They kind of basically she's deaf, so she's been teaching him sign language, and so Kong can actually communicate now, which is really awesome. There's also a guy called Bernie, who is an employee of Apex, and he's also he's got like a podcast and stuff where he's kind of talks like conspiracy theories regarding the Titans and things like that. And so he kind of stumbles upon the secret of Mechagodzilla, who's being created by Apex in order to almost like in like a Pacific Rim kind of fashion. They're trying to basically create a way of fighting the Titans themselves, should they need to. But of course, being generic businessman in a suit, obviously it's all for personal gain, and it's all very evil, and malicious intentions. And then basically throughout the movie they all fight, and it's very fucking epic. So jumping straight into the positives of this movie, I have to start with Kong. Like, Kong is the absolute best character in this movie by a country mile. The way that they've kind of really humanized him, and just in general, just really just giving him so much kind of heart and emotion, and he really is like the kind of the bridge between mankind and the Titans. He is like the fact that he has just so much personality is amazing, and obviously we saw that in Skull Island, but it really is so evident in this movie. Essentially is just looking for home, and he's kind of been on his own for so long now, and his whole kind of driving force in this is that he's just trying to just find a real place to to call his own, and maybe even find his family, maybe even find some other creatures like himself. So that is kind of basically how they get him to lead them there. They kind of tell him, there's a point when they go to Antarctica, and obviously he's not going to survive there, but they're like, you've got to go in this portal, it's going to take you to Hollow Earth, but you could have some family down there, like, we don't know. And as soon as they say that, he's like straight in, jumps down, bless him, and you just want to give him a big hug. Basically, he's just bloody love Kong. Obviously the action in this movie is ridiculous. It's so epic. All these movies are epic, but this is truly just so awesome to finally see Godzilla and Kong. You obviously have the fight on the aircraft carrier and the ships. In obviously that was in the trailers and kind of on the posters and very heavily advertised. And yeah, that's all amazing. And I love the fact that they give us this kind of thing, where that, because obviously Kong is quite held back in that first fight, and for a lot of it, so Godzilla definitely has an advantage. So Kong is kind of handicapped. So obviously he wins that first fight. Kong then comes back, kicks Godzilla's ass. So it's 1-1. And then there's like a third fight, and I guess Godzilla kind of wins that one, I think, overall. And then obviously that's then when we get Mechagodzilla, who then appears at the end, and they obviously team up together to take him down. Which, as I said, that is just amazing to see as well. Like, there's just so many great little team up moments in there. Like, it's just great seeing them working together, and it's really like. It is sweet. I'm not, it's adorable actually, is what it is. Like Godzilla's about to die, and Kong comes in and saves him. And then you think Kong's struggling, and then Godzilla comes in and saves him, and at the end, so yeah. So they, seeing them two work together is just fucking. It's like every monster movie fan's like wet dream. I love that Hollow Earth gets explored as well. Again, it's we're getting a nice kind of continuation of the world and just the lore. With each one of these movies, I really appreciate that they're expanding the universe, and they're giving us a little bit more each time. They're not trying to just kind of force feed it all to us in one movie, like some other franchises seem to be doing. And yeah, so I really appreciate that. And obviously the tone of this movie I really liked as well. I love, I think the humor. I mean, again, humor is a little bit kind of hit and miss at times, but there are some good moments there. There's like sort of the bit with Alexander Skarsgård where he thinks he's calling Gia brave, but he's actually calling her a coward, because that's kind of what he's learnt sign language wise. And and like Bernie's a really awesome character as well, and he has some good moments. So I really appreciate that. It's definitely more in that kind of Skull Island vein, I would say. Moving on to the mixed aspects, I guess Godzilla's a bad guy now. He's kind of goes from being this protector of the earth to kind of being more like an anti-hero. He's obviously attacking the Apex facility. Obviously, we now know why he did that, because obviously he could, I guess, sense Mechagodzilla there. But I don't know. It's I don't know if it's because I'm. It's funny. The first time I saw this movie when it came out, I was definitely Team Godzilla. But since rewatching it, I'm 100% Team Kong, and yeah, it's interesting that they've kind of like they've made Godzilla, as I say, he's kind of like the bad guy out of the two of them. I know he's just generally, especially like in the Toho movies, he's generally just this force of nature that can't be stopped. But I think the first two movies did a good job of showing that he actually does care, and so yeah, that was kind of interesting that they kind of went that route with him. As I say, not necessarily a bad thing, just an observation. That's kind of, I didn't really pick up on it so much the first time around, because I was, as I say, Team Godzilla, so I was just like, oh, here we go. But yeah, watching it again, I was like, actually, yeah, I think he's kind of the bad guy in this, or at least to start with. And again, with Mechagodzilla, he's just thrown in at the end there. It's like he's not in it all that much. You get like little teasers and glimpses of him throughout the movie when Bernie and Madison and the kid from Deadpool 2 are in it, and they're like investigating. I would have liked to see more from him, but again, I mean, you'd probably it'd have to be like a 3-hour movie or something, I guess. You'd have to, I think, to fully flesh him out. So for me, it was a bit of a doomsday scenario, like in Batman v Superman. Just kind of cramming him in at the end, like shoehorning him in. So yeah, I would like to see more from him, but I'll take what I can get. At least they did Mechagodzilla, so that's more than I was expecting. And then finally, moving on to the negatives of the movie. I mean, like Millie Bobby Brown and the kid from Deadpool 2. I really don't know why they were even in this film, to be honest. Especially, and that Kyle Chandler as well, her dad. Why did they even bother bringing him into it? Honestly, all they really did, obviously they team up with Bernie, and they're just kind of there to introduce us to Bernie. Really, that's all they do. And it's just a way of tying this movie into King of the Monsters. Yeah, didn't really work for me, I'll be honest. You could literally just remove them from the movie, and it wouldn't have made a single bit of difference to the plot. It wouldn't have kind of So yeah, I guess maybe they just wanted, you know, a way to just be like, oh yeah, we've got another, you know, big name attached to this movie. Come and watch it. But I'm certainly not watching these movies for Millie Bobby Brown. I'm watching these movies because I want to see giant monsters fight each other. You know, that's why I'm there. That's why we all go and watch these movies. And then for me, just like, you know, the ending I found kind of predictable. I've seen enough of these movies, these kind of like hero versus hero team up movies, where you kind of know what's going to happen. They fight each other for a bit, then ultimately they have to put their differences aside to face a bigger threat. So yeah, we kind of all knew how this was going, but it didn't, you know, it didn't stop me from enjoying the movie. I just kind of was like, oh yeah, well, you know, it was kind of obvious this was going to happen. But my God, the way they did it, fucking loved it, mate. So yeah, I'm not complaining. Well, I guess I am because it's in the negatives, but yeah, whatever. So overall, Godzilla vs Kong, I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I mean, of course I do. It's Godzilla vs Kong. I mean, it's not, as I say, these movies aren't. This isn't like the Shawshank Redemption. You know, this isn't Citizen Kane. This isn't, you know, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. These movies are never going to win Oscars. It's just pure, you know, dumb fun, popcorn, like fueled kind of movie awesomeness. You know, that's what these movies are. They're just the ultimate escape. You know, if you just want to go and just see giant CGI creatures beating the shit out of each other for, you know, 2 hours and have a few laughs and things along the way, that's 100% what these movies are. We all know what we signed up for. But especially with Kong, there's a real emotional value to these movies as well. You know, it's not all just about the destruction and just seeing big creatures hit each other. You know, like the ending of the movie, we get to see Kong, you know, living his best life on Hollow Earth, and he's finally home and he's happy, and it's such a heartwarming ending. And Godzilla, you know, goes off back to the sea, and they just, you know, they go their separate ways. They're very, you know, Kong has Hollow Earth, that's like his domain, and then Godzilla, you know, he's got our world, like the I don't know, the outer world, I guess you'd call it. And yeah, so that's basically, there's like this kind of unwritten, unspoken law between them, where it's like, right, you stay where you are, I'll stay where I am. You know, we don't like each other, but, you know, I'm not going to invade your territory and you're not going to invade mine. That's kind of how they leave it, and that's awesome. Like, that's, you know, I think the perfect kind of way, the compromise for everyone, because I say Kong's happy at the end. So yeah, so that you know, was really awesome. So yeah, with that being said, I am going to give Godzilla vs Kong a rating of 4 Mechagodzillas out of 5. Alright guys, thank you so much for checking this video out. I really do appreciate it. As always, you know, if you enjoyed it, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe as well. So we're now on to the big one, and the whole reason I've done this little series of reviews. And I have to say, I've thoroughly enjoyed rewatching all these movies. Like, they are just so much fun to sit through, and there isn't a single bad one in this whole series that, you know, that I kind of gone through. You know, they have their own little issues here and there, but generally speaking, they're just, yeah, they're an absolute blast. So of course, yeah, so the next review, the final review in this series is going to be Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire. Still not really sure how to pronounce that one. And obviously after that, I'm going to do a little ranking video where I go through kind of which movies I prefer, you know, and just put them in an order for you as well. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, until next time, guys, have a great rest of your day. Take care.